Hi, good evening to everyone. We are continuing our discussion on gene control. See, whenever we talk of a gene, we always think in terms of genetics. We feel that genes are responsible for transmitting the hereditary characters. That is the normal notion, we get it. But we should know also that the genes also are responsible for maintaining the homeostasis. That word homeostasis refers to the internal balancing of various types of chemical reactions going on inside a cell per se, and then maybe at the level of the organism in toto. So the entire organism, having millions of cells, will be having an equilibrium of the internal state to maintain the life, and that is again the function of the gene directed by DNA and RNA. So we will just look into one aspect of the gene control. When you say gene control, it may be an expression of the gene as a protein, or it may be a repression of the gene not to produce any protein in that one. Both are possible. So the control of the functions and the internal conditions of a living system is very much depends upon the gene control, or what we call regulation of the gene. Now, this question is not new in the biology, but it's the work of Jacob and Monod, who were trying to study the metabolism in E. coli. They were trying to trace the metabolic path of a sugar called lactose disaccharide. They were working on that. So at that time, they proposed a concept. See, the word concept, when I use the word concept in cognitive science, I am a cognitive scientist. When we say that, we mean a word plus its meaning plus interpretation. So I will repeat, when you say the concept, it means word plus meaning plus interpretation. So we are going to work on what's called the concept of operon. Now this word operon only suggests that a collection of polycistrons or segments of DNA which will be responsible to produce sequences of amino acids to produce a particular type of protein under the control of some factors. These factors are again, factors will be proteins, enzymes, together they form. So that kind of a work was going on by Jacob and Monod, and they suggested what's called a lac operon. Here the word lac refers to lactose. They were trying to find out or explain the metabolic pathway of lactose, because they were normally E. coli utilizes glucose for its energy purposes. But sometimes when the glucose is not present in the system, then it will use some other form of the carbohydrate, especially lactose. So they were trying to find out that one. So whatever they suggested is a framework to understand the gene regulation. It is a framework. That means if you understand this particular concept of lac operon as how gene functions or how gene is controlled, then that will give us a basic understanding of how genes work in different beings. For example, the human genome is said to have 22,000 or 25,000 genes. You can understand the number of genes. And they may contain about more than 3 billion nucleotides. No, when that is so complicated, we can't even imagine how this is going to happen. So at least we can understand one particular work in which we know how in general a gene is regulated or a gene is controlled, how the genes function, either expression or repression is controlled. These things we can understand by studying what's called the lac operon. So we are now working on the E. coli. It's a prokaryote. So whatever we discuss today, I would say whatever we talk today is a very general talk, and that will be helpful for those people who may not take up the medical or other examinations, because we are not going in detail. We are working only at the surface level to understand the concept of the gene operon, as I told you earlier. So in general, we can understand how a gene functions. Now, this is a framework. That means you will be having an outline to know how a gene functions in a system, in a living system. And also, we can find out what are the transcription factors. When you say gene expression, that means first it will be DNA information will be sent to mRNA by means of a process called transcription, where one template strand sequence is copied. Again, you must know that when you say here the DNA is a very, very long chain, and this long chain may contain only very small areas which I am writing in the red, and these small areas will be segments where the gene and its factors responsible for transcription will be there, and those areas are called the coding areas. So if you know how one coding area works with a very small segment of gene, then we can apply the same concept to various levels with more complexity. When we come to eukaryotes, it will be much more complex. It is not very easy to discuss at this time in a very short time. So we will try to understand the concept of the lac operon here. So now the lac operon, when we are telling it, we talk about a segment of the DNA. A segment of DNA means a small part of DNA, and this part of the DNA will contain 1, 2, 3, 4 genes, 4 specific segments, and then the other non-coding area may be there. So we are working on that now. So what is that they found out was that when the E. coli wants to use lactose as its food or for energy purposes, that lactose has to be converted or metabolized into simple sugars. It's a disaccharide, it cannot use it, therefore it has to be made into monomers, and these monomers are galactose and glucose, and then glucose is available for the E. coli for its metabolic activity. So they were trying to find out that particular simple, in our words, in simple pathway, but it is a complicated pathway also, that they were trying to do it. So let us try to understand the gene now per se. What is the gene structure, we shall say. The lac operon or the lac operon gene will contain a portion called a regulatory segment. That's one part of the gene, and thus second part is called the structural gene. So there will be 2 parts in the lac operon, which operates to metabolize lactose into glucose that should be available for the metabolism of E. coli structure. So it will have two segments very clearly. The regulatory segment of the gene of the DNA or of the, in this case, the mRNA, or it may be even a segment of the, we will say segment of the gene to begin with, because we are talking about the transcription. So this gene, regulatory gene, may contain, in this case, a part called the promoter and called operator, and then another one called repressor. So these are the non-coding elements which we call promoter factors. These promoter factors may be proteins, they may be enzymes, possibly they are the two types, and then the inhibiting factors are there. That means sometimes when there is more glucose available in the cell, then the operon will not work. That means, I forgot to tell you in the beginning, this regulation of a gene or controlling of the gene or the expression and repression will be just like a switch light, on and off. So if it is switched on, there will be expression. If it is switched off, there will be repression. So that is the type of the activity going on. So now when the glucose is in large quantity in the cell, then this segment will not work. So how does it happen? We shall see. It has got a site called promoter, and it has also got a site called operator. And to this operator, a repressor will join. All these again are the parts. They will be either proteins, or they may be enzymes, or they combination of both. So in this condition, that is what's called the regulatory segment. So regulatory segment of a gene, of any gene for that matter, will contain promoter site, operator site, and repressor site. These three will be common. Actually, it will be we can remember that by means of PROG for any organism, that is promoter, repressor, operator, and then the gene. So this is the four combination will be in any system, almost in any living cell. Now, but we are talking about the prokaryotes today. And then the second part will have genes in this condition, gene one called Z, gene Y, and gene A. Now gene Z, when it makes a copy of this part and then makes that into a protein, it will become what's called a galactosidase. See, all these words, yes, 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 when we write like that, that is nothing but an enzyme. So one part of the gene, one part of the segment of the gene is responsible to produce a enzyme called a galactosidase. As the name indicates, it works on the galactose, it works on the lactose to produce galactose. That is the gene that works on that. Then there is another gene called Y, and this Y part of the gene is responsible to produce the proteins or polypeptide chain responsible for an enzyme called permease. Now, when we say permease, it is only like this. Supposing we write here a E. coli bacteria, and then inside that there will be cytosol, and there will be this permease helps the entry of the glucose into the mitochondria. See, glucose is burnt in mitochondria. Even this also has mitochondria. So when once the glucose is made outside, that has to come inside the mitochondrial membrane. For that, the permease helps. And then another gene called gene A helps in trans-acetylase. That is again another particular type of an enzyme that helps in the total metabolism of the lactose. So these are the three segments of the gene. They are called structural genes because they are the one they are going to help in building up the poly chain. This is one chain of amino acid, second chain of amino acid, third one. So it's called polycistronic transcription. That means at least three genes are involved in this, not one gene. So if the three genes are produced, then only metabolism of the lactose will happen. Otherwise, it will not happen. That is the structural part of it. When we come to regulatory part of it, it has got a promoter site, and that promoter site is an important site. It is only here any kind of a initiation of the production of the or the functioning of structural gene to work, then promoter will have to initiate the total. That's why it's called a promoter. It promotes the production or it promotes the repression, whatever it may be, it promotes. And that will contain, this will have a site called CAP site. That's a short form. CAP represents to catabolic activating protein. That's a site, that's a place here called the CAP. And that site it comes, and then there will be one more called cyclic AMP. That means they will bind here. See, that is also what you call promoter factors. So two different types of substances will come and bind this promoter gene. That means it is now initiating that one. At that time, this operator gene, this one is very important. It operates. What is that is going to operate? It operates the switch, on and off switch. Either it may switch it on or it can switch it off. When you look at this diagram, I have written here a repressor in the green color. A repressor is nothing but you can imagine it is nothing but a protein. And this protein, there is a gap between the operator and the repressor. And when the gap is open, when this is not touching the operator, then it is open. The switch is on. Then there will be activity. Supposing the switch is, if you want to make the switch is off, then this one repressor and one more enzyme, and that enzyme is called allolactase. It will come and join here. These two will go and then press it on the operator. When they press it, this closes. When it closes, then the switch is off. Then there is no activity here. That means I am only trying to make it very simple for you so that we understand. As I told you earlier, this is not for the people who write the medical examination. We are not doing that. We are only learning the basics, how it works. So in the regulatory segment, there will be a promoter. That promoter, when it gets the suitable factors, it will be ready. It makes the operator to either to switch on or to switch off. To do that, there is what's called the repressor, and then again some factors are there. These factors may be physiological factors. Let us say in this case, in the lac operon case, let us say there is no glucose in the E. coli. We talked about E. coli. E. coli does not have the glucose. For example, E. coli is short of glucose. When it is short of glucose, it may die. Because when there is no glucose, it can't live. Therefore, glucose has to be supplied. When that condition arises, immediately these factors will become active, and this particular protein will bind with this one, and this will open up now. Open up, and then the operator works. That is, I gene do all these things. Then the gene Z, gene Y, gene A will start functioning. They produce different strips of the mRNA molecules here, and these strips will come together and they become that is the polypeptide chain, 3 different types, and then they will form into functional proteins. They will become galactosidase, permease, and transaxlase. 3 different types of enzymes are produced. These enzymes will attack the lactose and they will break the lactose into galactose and glucose, and then glucose is available. So this type of regulation happens in a gene. So we talked about only a simple simple example containing 3 genes and 1 more I gene, 4 genes. This has been not only theoretical, it is proved by Jacob and Monod experimentally. Therefore, this model of operon model, I told you in the beginning, operon refers to a collection of cistrons. The word cistron refers to a segment of a DNA that will be responsible for producing one polypeptide chain. So it may be 3 different genes are there. There may be 10 genes. For all the 10 genes are controlled by a regulatory segment, and that segment will have promoter and operator and repressor. To that, in combination these 3, there will be enzymes and other proteins. They bind together, and all these together called, we can call them as promoter factors. These factors, when they bind, or either they switch on or they switch off. When they switch on, they come out. When the switch is on, when the switch is off, when you say switch is off means it closes. When it comes together, when the switch is on, it works. That means this will go and bind there. When it is off, no production is there. When this is switched off, when it is switched off means the repressor will not join. It is sometimes also called as a inducer sometimes. So when it goes and attaches, it becomes an inducer. Otherwise, it will be a repressor. So when it attaches, then the function starts. It is on. When it comes back, it is off. When the glucose level increases in the E. coli cell, then some chemical signals will go. That's what I call homeostasis will happen. Internal balancing of the molecular movement. Hundreds and thousands of molecular movement will be happening in a cell, and that will be controlled by signals and chemicals. You know, we take carbohydrate, fats, proteins, and then vitamins, then minerals. All these will work in a coordinated way, and they will become the promoting factors or inhibiting factors, and they will help in switching on and switching off the gene. So just to conclude here, I would like to tell you one thing, that if it happens in that complicated way only in the 4 genes, you can think of the 25,000 genes present in the human body. Each cell will be performing hundreds of functions in every second to maintain the life. And then the most important thing is they should maintain the homeostasis. That means the internal regulation and balancing of the molecular movement and other things. And that is also a major function of the gene control. That means genes are not only responsible for transmitting the hereditary characters, genes are responsible to do hundreds and thousands of molecular activities in the cell. It may be structural activity, it may be functional activity, it may be metabolic, means maybe producing something new, maybe destroying something new. All this will be happening in the cell. Just imagine a small case like a situation like diabetes. Some of us, even I have diabetes. What is the meaning of diabetes here? In my body, in my blood, the glucose level will be quite high. glucose cannot be metabolized, glucose cannot be utilized. Why? Because insulin is not produced. Why insulin is not produced? Maybe due to problem in the pancreas, or it may be something else. I may be overeating to my age. So whatever reasons are there, that means there is no control. But genes are responsible for such a control, and that is called gene expression. We shall stop here, and then we will find out the eukaryotic how the transcription happens in the next session. So here, to end here, I would like to say this framework is very important. Please remember, any gene of any type, whether it is lac operon or tryptophan operon or any other type of a operon where the polypeptide chains are made, then that will have two sections. One is the regulatory segment that will contain promoter, operator, repressor or inducer. Along with that, there will be number of promoter factors, that will be RNA polymerase and a promoter protein, and there will be physiological factor that will be responsible to either to switch on or switch off the segments. So this kind of a complicated activity will be happening inside the cell, and this is often called the gene regulation or gene control. I will stop here. Maybe in the next session, if possible, we will take upon the eukaryotic genetic gene control. Thank you.